can disrupt your business and damage your reputation. Consolidated Communications Cloud Secure Service safeguards your business from these attacks by securing your network, data, and applications. We proactively monitor your security to prevent intrusions before they compromise your IT systems while protecting your staff in the office or when working remotely. Visit consolidatedcommunications.com/cloudsecure to protect your business.
Cardinal IG would like to shine the spotlight on their employees celebrating October anniversaries. Neandwi Stanislas is celebrating 15 years. Aboinyo Ajang is celebrating 10 years. Aaron Kapabe, 5 years. Tite Benazerwe, Mohammed Yusuf, and Chris Welesha are all celebrating their first year. From the entire team, thank you. Cardinal IG offers competitive pay, outstanding benefits, and an extensive training program. To view open positions or to apply, visit cardinalfargo.com.
Every fan loves an explosive play on the field when someone breaks free and takes it to the house. Take that feeling anywhere with the explosive taste of Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Bud Light Seltzer is always the right call for game day. The bold flavor of the hard soda variety pack and the all-new seasonal apple slices flavors will definitely score points with your team in the tailgate zone or inside the Fargo Dome. Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
No one wants to think about it, but the cooler weather and cold morning starts are right around the corner. Get your vehicle ready at one of the 3 locally owned Jiffy Lubes of Fargo. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, it's easy. No appointment needed. Just drive up and drive in for your signature service oil change and a free charging system check to ensure your vehicle will be ready when you are. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for over 40 years, where you can do more in a jiffy.
For 45 plus years, we are still growing and still strong. Northern Plains Steel continues to break production records with each happy customer we serve. Come work for us. We offer employees praise and recognition for a job well done and highly competitive pay and benefits. We have shifts to fit your lifestyle needs so you can balance work life with your home life. We have first and second shift positions available. Press brake operators, CNC machinists, and production workers. Apply at jobs.owenmetalsgroup.com. That's jobs.owenmetalsgroup.com.
Good news! Gateway Clearance Center's construction is all done. Stop by the newly remodeled Clearance Center and experience Clearance Center pricing. Clearance Center savings. The all-new Gateway Clearance Center has been expanded and remodeled to serve you better with a bigger and better selection of clean used vehicles. The Gateway Clearance Center has over 250 used cars and trucks. Payments starting at just $199 a month. On-the-spot financing. Gateway Clearance Center, 2302 South University Drive, Fargo.
KQWB, West Fargo, Fargo-Moorhead, and KPFX, HD3 Kindred, Bison 1660. Powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Fox Sports. And here's what you need to know.
Some quarterback injury news to update. NFL media says Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is not currently involved in practice in a substantial way. He'll work off to the side as he recovers from thumb surgery. NFL media also reporting the Giants didn't sign any of the quarterbacks they worked out on Tuesday, a positive sign for Daniel Jones' availability this weekend in London against the Packers. Also, the Giants are not likely to have receiver Kenny Golladay for that game. He suffered an MCL sprain against the Bears this past weekend. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow on the Colin Cowherd podcast said that he's likely had at least one concussion in his career and that he's forgotten parts of games in the past. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel said defensive back Xavier Howard is day-to-day with a groin injury, and Commanders rookie running back Brian Robinson has been cleared to return to practice. I'm Nick Cope.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Oh, baby, here we go. It is a hump day for you on the Insiders. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the show on Bison 1660, your home for all things NDSU. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, Micah Bindi, gang's all here. Happy to be inside our Thorold's and Ethanol Broadcast Center once again. I love the Bison 1660 Road Tour. It's great. Fun to be out with Bison Nation. Fun to be at all the spots we work. Consolidated Communications, Twin Peaks, Sickies, The Bridges, Frank's Lounge, all of our afternoon stuff, Frank's Lounge and Traditions. All those places where we're at, absolutely loved it. Love seeing Bison Nation. There's something just comfortable. It's like when you're on the road. It's like a road game in football. You're kind of on the road. You're in somebody else's turf, somebody else's territory. You got to find where the outlets are. You got to find out where everything's at. When we come back to the Thorold's and Ethanol Broadcast Center, it's a home game for us, and I like home games, Rob.
Yeah, I talked to Coach the other day. I always say on the coaches show, welcome into the house. Mm-hmm. This is the house, man. This is where it's at. We're in the house.
It's a home base for us, and it's nice when all three of us are together. Micah doesn't have to have the horse cam just on himself for the entire show. That's also helpful. Helps the streaming numbers a little bit, too. But I love the road tour, but I like being home inside the Thorold's and Ethanol Broadcast Center. That's where we're at today. We won't be here tomorrow. We do still go to Sickies every Thursday, which we also love. I'm not at all upset about going to Sickies once a week. One road game a week is okay with 4 home games. I'm okay with that schedule. So happy to be at Sickies tomorrow. Make sure you come out there and enjoy the great burgers, the great brews, the chicken sandwiches, the fried pickles, all that stuff, the great shakes as well at Sickies off 45th tomorrow on the show. Also, tons of things to give away. That Jim Beam insulated cooler, we give it away tomorrow. People have been signing up for that one. Tomorrow is the day we give that away at Sickies. Your final chance to register, and then we give that one away to one lucky listener. Plus, great stuff from Dakota Monument Company. We're going to have tickets to just some game between NDSU and SDSU. I don't know if you've ever heard about the Dakota Marker game, but we'll give away tickets to that game as well. So tons of things to give away tomorrow on the show live at Sickies. You got to be there to try and win those ones and come in and enjoy the great food and drinks also at Sickies. But today, fun show for you, fun couple of hours on tap, and a fun 2 hours of sports talk for you. How about Ben Rikard from Sam Houston, and they're going through that transition to the FBS. I know in the preseason they were getting votes in the poll and stuff. It's just kind of weird because they're basically FBS. They can't make the playoffs. They can't qualify for it, but they're not full-fledged FBS members yet. They're making that transition. How is that going? Get a little bit of the insight into that one. I know that's something some of our fans care about that. I won't say all of them, but some of our fans care about teams at this level who I think we would consider NDSU to be better than. I know Sam Houston won that spring championship, beat NDSU that season in the playoffs too. But overall, NDSU has won the majority of those meetings throughout the years. So teams like Sam Houston, teams like Coastal Carolina back in the day, App State back in the day, obviously JMU just making that transition. Fans would say JMU is very competitive and comparable to NDSU, but NDSU probably slightly better. Got them a couple of times in Frisco, got them in the semifinal last year inside the Dome to end their career as a FCS institution. So NDSU probably a little bit better. So we keep track of those programs, how they do at that next level, and try and judge, okay, how are they doing? How do we think NDSU would do based off of all of that? It's not necessarily a apples-to-apples type of comparison, but it's something we like to do. So I'll catch up with Ben, someone you know pretty well, Rob, from your days down there, and get his opinion on how that transition is going.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to Ben again, and then also about just the rivalry that pretty much has came to an end down there in East Texas now, and we want to make it a bigger picture. We don't want to just tie it into Texas. We want to talk about what does that do for rivalries even up here. How could that affect if we ever lost a great rivalry here at NDSU, and what does that mean to these programs?
Well, there's already one rivalry that's going away because of college realignment as well. Oklahoma State, Bedlam. The last one is getting played. I don't know if it's this week or the week after, but coming up here, that'll be the last one between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. They're not going to try and do a non-conference every single year type of rivalry thing.
And another rivalry that I saw as a kid that I was huge on was Texas A&M, and then with the transition back in the day of A&M going to the SEC, UT staying at Big 12. We lost that rivalry. Yep. Well, now that rivalry's coming back.
It is.
So rivalries come, they go, and they come back.
Exactly. So we'll catch up with Ben on that one at about 11:30 on the program. First-time guest as well, so get dust off the gong. Have to get that thing ready. And then at noon today, earlier this week, we previewed NDSU men's basketball with Dave Richmond. Fun conversation. Loved having Coach Richmond on and hearing about that men's program. There's some new faces. We talked about one of them quite a bit, Luke Yoder, a D3 transfer for the men's team, who's going to be, I think, a really special player and a player that will play an important role early on in the season, especially from a defensive perspective and then also just the facilitator of the offense. Someone that's played college basketball quite a bit, I think can maybe run that system. I know someone that they're very excited about as well. So that was fun on Monday, which means today, on Wednesday, we have the women's basketball head coach on. Jory Collins will stop by. Very excited to have Jory on with us and preview that women's basketball team as they've been practicing now for a couple of weeks. And speak about new faces, there's a lot of them on the men's team. There might be even more of them on the women's team. And not a complete overhaul of the roster, but you get some players in, some players out. The transfer portal taketh and giveth and all that kind of stuff in today's era of college sports. They've got quite a few new faces, and I know some younger new faces that Jory is extremely excited about and thinks could possibly even contribute right away this season. And it's a Summit League where, yes, SDSU and USD are still here. They're still in the league. They're still elite. And SDSU, particularly, is loaded. They have a ton of players back from last year. But USD is a new coach. They've done this before, from Amy Williams to Dawn Plitzowite. Now Dawn Plitzowite left for West Virginia. When she left, though, there were some graduations of top players, and then some of their top young players that would have been their next kind of wave of stars left for West Virginia as well, or other places. So there's maybe a slight crack or a crease in USD to try and poke through. Not going to be easy because that program has proven that through transition they're going to be just fine. But it's going to be a Summit League on the women's side that maybe is slightly more open than it has been in past years. And I know Jory Collins and that women's basketball team are very excited for the future of their program. He will join us at noon today for a good couple of minutes to go over the women's basketball program, some of their new faces, obviously returners. The biggest returner is Heaven Hamline. She's a legit player. I believe the all-conference voting probably ends this week or next week, something like that. And I would be a little bit surprised if she's not at least on the second team all-conference. First team might be a slight stretch. There's some really good players in the conference, but first or second team all-conference, I think Heaven Hamline has had a career where she deserves to be on there, a preseason awards kind of thing, and a player to watch for preseason player of the year as well. Like someone that could have that good of a year. She's been in this system for a number of years and clearly a great offensive player, has been from the outset. Defensively, taking some strides too. So very much looking forward to having Jory Collins on at noon on the program. And that's the guest lineup for you. There we go. That's today on the show. Very much looking forward to both of them. We want you to be a part of it too. You guys can give us a call. You know the numbers by now, but if you don't, 701-476-1660, the Epic Companies hotline. You can also text us at that same number, 701-476-1660, or you can email us. The Rick Electric email inbox is open for you. That's studio@bison1660.com. And you can also comment on the Facebook page. We have the stream up, right, Micah? There we go.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
it's all
purveyor
up
of the
and ready.
stream. Perfect. I love it. The stream is up and ready to go on our Facebook page, Bison1660. That's courtesy of the Horse Cam, Farming with Passion, online at horse.com. You can comment there below on our Facebook live stream of the show. Appreciate you guys watching out there. You can see the beautiful Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center as well. So there we go, rocking and rolling. A Wednesday edition, getting a little bit closer to Indiana State. I know you've probably done a little bit of a deep dive, started to really dive into this Sycamore squad. What stands out to you when you look at Indiana State so far?
I think one of the biggest things, Andy, is just their rotation in quarterbacks. They still don't really have that guy. Gavin Screws has been a guy at that quarterback position, but he has not been the guy. They've rotated through a handful of quarterbacks. That's still an area of concern for that team. We talked yesterday to Luke about that, their TV play-by-play man over there. But yeah, it's a team that they're trying to find their identity still. They're trying to find who's going to be that quarterback. And Gavin Screws projected to get the start, but I think we're going to see multiple quarterbacks in that game again.
I think there's, at least two, maybe three. You might see that many different players at the quarterback position. Gavin Screws seems to be the one they trust to throw. And I know from talking with Luke Martin, they've got a couple other guys, and Michael Hoppert's kind of gotten healthy now. Hoppert's basically that running quarterback. Got a few other guys as well that can maybe throw the ball and give them a little bit of production, but it seems like Gavin Screws, at least so far this season, is the guy they really trust to actually throw the ball when it's needed.
And they've got a guy too. It's easy to talk about the quarterback or the running back, but you talk about the wide receiver, a guy named Dante Hendricks, who is closing in 30 consecutive games now where he's caught a pass, closing in on the Indiana State receptions record, 41 catches away from that. So I expect to see a good game from him. Even though, this Bison team, you look at it on the flip side, we give up a lot on the rush, but we don't give up a whole lot on the passing side. So I think Dante's going to be targeted. He had 5 receptions last week, I believe, and we'll see how he continues to grow and develop for this Indiana State team. But, again, Code Green is really good against the pass this year.
Really, really good against the pass. That's why I think this is a good matchup. We want the running defense to improve, right? That's something we've heard from the fans week in and week out. How come 100 yards? How come 100 yards every week? And trust me, the coaching staff wants it to improve, too. This is a game where Indiana State comes in averaging 97.5 yards per game on the ground between running backs, quarterbacks, everything. So not necessarily a team that's going to kill you on the ground. Now, that's basically 100 yards, right? 97.5 per game, basically 100. But Youngstown State came in averaging more than that. Jaleel McLaughlin came. They don't have a running back, an individual player coming into this game that's like, oh, that player is averaging close to or over 100 yards per game, like you've kind of seen with different players for some of the opponents for the Bison. So this would be a game where, I'll throw it out there. I'd like to see Indiana State held to under 100 yards. Because I think the quarterback run game is going to be a big factor for them. Now, outside of Arizona, the quarterback run game has not really been an issue for NDSU. They haven't allowed quarterbacks to really get loose. Delore is a different level of athlete. They don't have a Jaden Delore on Indiana State. Not even close, not trying to be disrespectful to those players. Jaden Delore is a different level athlete. He's at Arizona for a reason. I don't think the quarterback run game is going to affect them. They don't have a running back that necessarily scares me in terms of the stats. I haven't seen a lot of the film, but stats-wise, doesn't really scare you. This would be a game I'd like to see Code Green keep them under 100, even on the road.
Yeah, their running back Justin Dinka leads the rush for the Sycamores, 239 yards, 56 carries coming into this ball game. And then you just mentioned it. They're averaging under 100 yards on the ground. And one other thing that stands out to me, the Sycamores on the defensive side giving up almost 35 points a game. Well, the Bison average almost 38 points a game. So I do expect a fast start. I expect a more dominating performance by the Bison. And we've seen them. Look, you go back to Arizona, that was the FBS game. I don't like going back to that too much because that's in the past now. We're 3 games out now. But every week, I believe, and Coach has talked about, I believe this team has found ways to get better. They've cleaned up areas that they've needed to clean up. The tackling has gotten a little bit better. It's not still where the coaches want it. They're giving up the rush. They're giving up some explosive plays, but I feel like every week things have gotten more and more and more improved. I like what I'm seeing, too, with Joe Stuffle. We've talked about him almost every day on this show, as he had his season high 4 receptions last week. He's had to step in for Noah Gindorf, and that's tough for Gindorf because that's it for him. He's out now, and that's a tough break for the Bison and just a tremendous young man, and that's a huge loss for this team. But again, the depth has always been there, and it's been there all season. And you've got young guys that are stepping up, and Joe Stuffle is one of those young guys on the offensive side that's stepping up in a very huge way.
NDSU always has, it's the next wave of tight ends. They seem to always have that, and something, like offensive linemen. You're like, okay, they lose 1 or 2 or 3 offensive linemen in a given year. They're going to have guys. It might take a game or 2, but they're going to have guys there. I'm starting to get that way with the tight ends. I've kind of been there actually probably for a couple of years because you lose players. Ben Ellison goes, you replace them, then Babbage goes. Now Gindorf's gone with an injury, and Stuffle comes in and looks like he hasn't, is not a missed beat on the offense. They can pass it to the tight end. He can block just as well as any of the other tight ends we've seen. So that's another really good piece to have in that offense. And I mentioned it yesterday, the level of comfortability, it seems like that's already developed between Joe Stuffle and Cam Miller because he wants that comfortable, reliable target in the passing game.
And don't forget about guys, too, in the back. We talk about Lipke all the time, but let's talk about Hunter Brosio and what he's been able to do so far this season away from the ball. Critical times where he comes in, may line up as a receiver. He's out there making blocks as well. So that's another name that's starting to get some recognition on the back end away from the ball is Brosio, and I like what I'm seeing from him as well.
I believe they handed the ball off to him once this last game, too, and threw it to him once. He had the catch, but then was called back because of a penalty. We talked about Indiana State. Justin Dinka, by the way, they're leading back 60 yards per game on the ground. Just shy. It's like 59.8, something like that. So, again, that's your leading rusher. Can you slow him down a little bit? Try and keep this team under 100. I think that should be a very realistic and very doable goal this week because you don't have a Jaleel McLaughlin back there that really, really scares you. I know the passing game for Indiana State's going to be a little bit better than the running game, and you don't want to get burned deep on anything. This is a game where I think the Bison's defensive line, linebackers can and should expect to dominate that line of scrimmage a little bit and try and keep the Sycamores under 100 yards. On defense for Indiana State, they do have 4 different players who are have a total of 2 sacks or more. 2 players at 2.5 sacks, Chris Reed and Giannini Belizaire. Jeffrey Brown, a guy we talked about with Luke Braun yesterday, has 2 sacks, a couple other tackles for loss as well, leads the team with 3.5 tackles for loss. Very dynamic player, it looks like. Just a sophomore at 6'1", 230. Built for a linebacker, a guy that gets into the backfield. He's not a you would assume defensive end or something at 6'1", 230, but with the number of tackles for loss at 3.5 and getting in the backfield, being a disruptor, you would assume maybe a defensive lineman, but then you pull it up in 6'1", 230, you're probably thinking linebacker, and he is. But a really good player for them, still young, sophomore there. Also, Juju Williams, another good player for them, a defensive lineman, 6'3", 255, just a redshirt sophomore. Chris Reed, who we mentioned, is 2.5 tackles for loss, both of them, or all of them sacks. He's a redshirt senior, so he's got more experience on that defensive line. And Belazaire is also a sophomore. So 3 sophomores or redshirt sophomores on that line. They're still a young team. So I think Kurt Mallory is getting some younger guys experience that in a year to 2 years, you're thinking, this is our window. Indiana State's a window school. We talk about haves and have-nots. It seems like the Sycamores are a little bit of a window school. Bring in a class, bring that class along for 2-3 years if you really need to, and then you got a 2 to 3 year window. Maybe next year with some of these defensive linemen that are having an impact. They're getting in the backfield and a linebacker as well in Brown. Maybe next year is their window to try and be more competitive towards the upper to middle half of that valley.
Yeah, a lot of young guys on this team. Another one to kind of keep a little bit of an eye on who's starting to show some success. Their sophomore safety, Ryan Cole. He had, I believe it was 7 or 9 tackles last week. 3 interceptions on the season so far.
All 3 of their interceptions.
Yeah, and he's only played. The stats will show he's played in 4 games, but he was injured at Purdue. He may have been listed in that game versus Montana, but he wasn't out there. So really, you go back, he's averaging an interception a game. He got 2 in the opener at North Alabama, and then since then, though, the one coming up last week. So he's another young man to keep an eye on. So as you said, a very young team, a talented squad, but I just don't think that they're going to have the weapons that they're going to need to go up against the Bison. But every game's tough. We know that.
Yeah, Rylan Cole, 6', 205, sophomore defensive back from Mount Vernon High School there in Indiana, so another in-state kid for him. And, yeah, I mean, when you're the second leading tackler on a team as a safety, it tells me a couple things. One, you're a good tackler, first off, 25 tackles on the year, and again, basically just 3 games played. It also tells me that they're probably allowing a lot of big plays, either in the passing game over the cornerbacks or in the running game where guys are getting to that second and third level, and then Rylan Cole's having to be there to make tackles. But those are both probably open field tackles, either one of those situations. He's making the tackles. 25 of them so far, 3 tackles for loss, too. So a guy that appears at least they're not afraid to bring him down into the box, blitz him. He doesn't have any sacks on the year, but 3 tackles for loss, and then 3 interceptions and a couple of pass breakups. So really good young safety. Again, sophomore. So you start to think maybe a year down the line, 2 years down the line, when he's a senior, the other players are juniors or seniors as well. That's the year where maybe they take off a little bit more and have one of those more competitive seasons. Not that they can't win this game. You got to play the game. You got to go out and win it. But NDSU clearly going to be favored in this one against the Sycamores. See if they can get another victory and move to 3-0 in the Valley. Get a nice road win. Haven't had a road game since South Dakota a couple weeks ago. If you get your first 2 road games in conference and get a couple of wins, it's a great spot to be, assuming that you can take care of business at home. There's a big-time home game coming up next weekend, obviously, with the Dakota Marker game, South Dakota State coming to town. We do have a fun giveaway as well with that Dakota Marker game I wanted to talk about just a bit today before we take our first break on the program, and that is Betting on the Border, brought to you by Dakota Nation Sportsbook at Dakota Magic Casino. You can bet on that Dakota Marker game this year, NDSU versus SDSU, coming up on October 15th. You can bet on that game this year, and we are giving away a stay-and-play package at Dakota Nation Sportsbook and Dakota Magic Casino. It will give away on Thursday next week. Next Thursday, we'll give away a stay-and-play package to Dakota Nation Sportsbook at Dakota Magic Casino. We'll give that away at Sicky's next Thursday. All you got to do is register for it by texting in the keyword, which is BET, B-E-T. Text the keyword BET to 701-476-1660, and you will be registered to win that stay-and-play package. You can then go and watch the Dakota Marker game down at the Sportsbook. You can put a couple of bets on it, any other games you want to. You can watch all the great action they've got there with all their TVs on the big screen at Dakota Nation Sportsbook, and you can also enjoy the great food, the atmosphere, the service, the drinks are great. A whole lot of fun there at Dakota Nation Sportsbook. And Betting on the Border, text that keyword BET to 701-476-1660 for your chance to win a stay-and-play package at Dakota Nation's Sportsbook.
All right, bet.
Bet.
Going to be down there. Going to be down there, bet. Enjoyed catching up with those folks yesterday. We were talking. We said, man, it'd be cool to have an insider show there on location. How about a little stay-and-play package for us, man? That'd be awesome.
Probably would walk away with less money than I came in. Be my guess of how that one would go.
I already don't have good luck currently, so I don't know if I should be able to go down there. I might have to stay up here and run the show for you guys. It's probably safer.
Yeah, stick to your predictions of games instead of actually putting money on games. With the Monday night prediction of the Rams losing by winning by multiple touchdowns over the 49ers, that one did not come true. By the way, Kenny Pickett is going to make his first career start. He's been named the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't know if I would have made him the starter because their Week 5 opponent is the Buffalo Bills, so congratulations. You're getting thrown into the fire if you're Kenny Pickett. Not an easy opponent for the first game for the young rookie, but he's going to get his first career start, and we'll see if they ever go back to Mitch Trubisky. Once you make the decision to go with the rookie, it feels like you kind of have to stay with the rookie the rest of the season no matter how it's going.
Not easy for Kenny Pickett, but might not be easy for the Bills as well because the Steelers might throw something completely different that they haven't shown on film because they have Pickett at quarterback. Maybe not. Just
but
throwing it out there.
Still, you still got to do it against that Bills defense. They got a pretty vaunted defense from what I've seen so far.
Well, he got taken first in the draft, and
I've seen the first quarterback
taken. Yeah, and I saw a stat up there just a few moments ago as we saw some news flashing across the screen that said the Steelers are 4-18 with starters since the Super Bowl era. I mean, that's a little. I'm thinking Cooper Rush a lot. About how
4-18 and it starts with their first start for a quarterback.
Yeah, with quarterbacks coming into back. That was kind of a stat that just stood out to me. I was like, ooh, that's not a really good. It's not a good look.
When you got a guy making his first career start, it doesn't always go very well.
Unless you're Cooper Rush.
I
now
guess,
you're 4-0.
When you just win your first four. I mean, for him, football is easy. He's like, NFL. Nothing much.
The thing that stands out, though, if you go 4-0 to start, eventually does that start averaging out? Do you go 10-0 and then all of a sudden you lose 10 straight? You don't want to see that average out and go down.
He is a Cowboys quarterback, so average.
Now what has he got, though? He's got a real test in the Rams. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, that whole defense he's going to be playing against this week. It's not, no offense, it's not the Giants. It's not the Commanders either. And I love Carson, but it's a different team you're taking on. You're taking on a different defense in that Commanders defense, too. So going to be a bigger challenge, I think, for Cooper Rush this week because it sounds like Dak can't even grip the football yet. So it's got to be Cooper Rush again this week.
Yeah, they said that I was reading something. He still has some swelling there that we saw come across the news wire earlier. Hey, we didn't get to it yesterday, so maybe a little bit later today we'll have to get to the most underwhelming and most overwhelming. When you said Giants, I started thinking of underwhelming, overwhelming.
Gotcha. We'll get to that. We absolutely will get to that in the second hour of the show. Before we take a break, we have to mention, it was last night, and I know we've been watching this. We wanted it maybe to not happen, but it happened. Aaron Judge against the Texans, and first off, I give the Texans a ton of credit. In 2 games, they didn't walk him once. They pitched to him. They threw right at him. They were going after him. They, unfortunately, one of their pitchers just threw it in the wrong spot, and Aaron Judge did hit home run number 62 yesterday against the Texans. We have the play call.
High fly ball, deep left. There it goes, soaring into history. He's done it. He has done it. 62. Aaron Judge is the American League single-season home run leader. The AL King. Case closed.
Michael Kay on the call. Yes Network, obviously, and I thought a good call. Case closed, Judge. I like it. Don't mind it at all. Probably a little scripted out. Probably should be scripted out. You should know what you're going to say when that home run is hit. But he gets the home run, 62, and he has officially broken Roger Maris's record. It's just weird how things work. Roger Maris, 61 home runs in 1961, 61 and 61. And I believe if math is correct, some other people have said this. I haven't done the math myself because I'm not good at it. It took 61 years. Has it been 61 years since 61? Seems about right. 40 from 60 plus another 20 would put you at, or 40 would put you another 20 would put you at 60. Yeah,
I just did 61. The math now. 2022 minus 1961 is 61.
So I mean, if you're going to have it broken, that's kind of a cool way to have it broken. 61 years later for numbers for 61 in 61, like that makes a lot of sense.
Some sort of matrix happening right now.
The 61 triangle of 61s there basically.
And kind of going along with that, our good friend Darla Jean sent in an email a little bit earlier this morning, said that now that Aaron Judge has broken Roger Maris's record, 61 years to do it, will Roger finally get in the Hall of Fame where he belongs? It would certainly look suspicious to put Aaron in after he retires if Roger isn't there. And she wanted to know our thoughts on that.
Well, if they didn't put him in when he had it, I don't know why not having the record anymore would be more of a reason to put somebody into the Hall. Clearly he should be. I mean, Roger Maris, right? He's got a Hall of Fame here. He's got West Acres. We're good.
Yeah. That was one of the first. When I came here, that was literally one of the first. I went to the mall, and that was the first place I went into the mall was to see that museum, and just very well thought out, the displays there, and you just learn so much history and the legacy, not only him, but his family and everything that he went through, and just that miraculous season in 1961. A lot of respect for the Maris family, and his son had been at those games and was there for 61 when Judge hit it, hugged Aaron Judge's mom. And, it's a bittersweet moment. I mean, not only for the Maris family, but, of course, for Aaron Judge and his family and his mom as well.
It was an awesome moment. And for Roger Maris, he should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, to me, there's no doubt about it. I don't get why. They're starting to put some older players in now. I don't care what the loophole is. Put them in. It needs to happen, obviously. I don't know. I don't think him not having the record is going to make it more likely he gets in. Probably less likely he gets in now than more likely. Probably more likely if it had just been tied. If Aaron Judge was tied with Roger Maris, you would think he'd probably be in, or maybe a better chance of being in. But appreciate the email from Darla Jean. You can email us, studio@bison1660.com. The questions everybody asks and everybody wonders, after Aaron Judge hits home run number 62, who caught the baseball? Who got it? Somebody did catch it. We didn't short arm this one. It didn't get out by much. I think it was just over. There's the bullpen there, I'm guessing, is the little bit of gap between the fence and the stands. Got over that and into like the first or second row, and there was obviously a mosh pit for it. There was like 10 different people with the gloves up there. By the way, people have made the argument, if you're over 13, no baseball gloves. When there's a chance to catch a $2 million baseball, absolutely I'm bringing my glove. I'm not going to leave that thing at home if I'm in the home run seats. But a mad dash for it, and it was grabbed by like a financial advisor person in the Houston area, basically.
Wait, is this like a tough guy thing? You can't bring a glove if you're over 13? I've never heard this. You're enlightening me right now.
No, it's just kind of the weird thing. Like the kids bring the baseball glove.
I'll bring a glove. I'll bring a glove. I don't know.
A lot of people say when you're 14, or like over 14 or 15, like, okay, we don't need. You can grab the home run ball, or just let. It's more so like let the kids. We don't need the grown men there with their glove trying to steal home run balls or foul balls or stuff.
If I'm there if my daughter's there with me, she gets older. I don't want her trying to catch a ball at 11 months. That wouldn't be good.
Right.
But if she's there with me, yeah, I'll let her. If I'm by myself or just Bridget and I'm going to try to catch the ball. Let's just be honest. I don't care what ball it is. I don't care if it's a home run ball, I'm
going to catch the ball too. I go barehanded.
Yeah. But I'm just saying,
barehanded.
There's a 13-year-old kid next to me. I mean, I paid to get here. I paid for the ticket. The 13-year-old kid's dad paid for his ticket, so he literally got in free, basically. I'm going to reach out and try to catch the ball over.
And
the
that
kid.
home run ball is a little bit different.
Then I'll give it to him, but not that home run ball, the one that's worth $2 million. Sorry, bud.
Apparently, Corey Yeomans is his name, the guy who caught the baseball.
I need the extra length with the glove.
Yeah,
and
he was a little ways away. He got in there, lowered the shoulder a bit, kind of wedged his way in, kind of wedged in last second, and then the long arm reached across. I think he's a lefty because I think the glove was on the right hand. So they gave him a little bit of an advantage, or not an advantage, he was at a disadvantage because he was a lefty and he was going to his left, had to reach across his body with the right hand, but wedged in there a little bit between some kids too. Didn't care, got up there, and that's a legal steal right there, catching the ball first.
Hey, that ball is fair game.
Absolutely.
It's worth so much money. And did you see the guy that jumped?
There's a guy that jumped.
He jumped like 10 seats down trying to go after the ball.
He was on the first row, saw, okay, this thing's not coming to me, but he also saw, this is probably in the first or second row. This isn't going way, way back. There's a chance. Everybody fighting for it. Hits off a glove. Someone closes the glove early, isn't, eyes closed, and they miss it. There's a good chance this thing falls down here. And he jumped. And smart move. Can we agree? Smart move. Would you have done it? If you were in the front row, Micah Bindi, and you know the ball's not coming at you, you're going to have to jump down to try and pick up the trash, basically. Are you going to jump down?
How far is the drop?
It looked about 12 feet.
I'd probably do it.
Rob?
You got some crowd there, too, that, you'll crowd surf over, So, yeah, if there was no one there, look, if it was just empty rows.
Oh, he was just jumping off from the front row down basically into the bullpen.
Okay.
He was jumping down.
I would, so there was no one there to kind of protect his fall.
No, because he was on the front row.
Okay, so there was nothing. Yeah, then, I would go for it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Absolutely doing it. That was people estimate $2 to $2.5 million baseball. They're like, what if you break your ankle? I think that $2.5 million probably covers the ankle.
Would your insurance pay for it, though? Because there's video coverage of you deliberately doing something. So if you went to the doctor... Granted, you may go to a doctor that says, oh, yeah, you broke your ankle, but the insurance isn't going to pay for it, but I know that that's a $2 million ball, so I'm going to charge you $1.9 million for the medical costs. So now you're kind of hosed. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it won't cost quite that much.
I traveled to a different.
And by the way, we've been updated. Everyone had to know the answers on everything with this baseball, this home run. He is fine. The guy that jumped down not a rolled ankle, nothing. He jumped down and said, "Hey, if that thing lands, it's mine."
And he didn't get in trouble?
He did get in trouble. He was escorted out because it's technically trespassing now. You're out of your seat. So he got ejected from the game, but whatever.
The ball's already gone.
Yeah, the ball's worth it. So at that point, you just hope that they miss it, somebody messes up, and it rolls out of a glove, and then it's all yours, and you're gone. Security's not taking it from you or anything. They can escort me out, but I got this baseball, and I'm not letting it go.
But yeah, with all those people fighting for it, imagine, it probably could go down to the bullpen.
Smart move. Absolutely.
Quickly, the guy that caught it, I was reading he was a VP at this investment firm.
Yep.
I just looked up the estimated salary for the vice president of Fisher Investments, if that's where he works and what his job role is, $340,280 per year.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yep.
So
conflicting reports on if he's given it back or not. Some people have said yes, and there's other reports from somewhat credible sources saying no, he hasn't decided yet, he hasn't given it back. Could sell it today. People say if you hold on to it, it only increases in value and capital gains tax and stuff. But the risk you take is Judge is playing today.
Yeah, I would sell it.
What did Judge hit? 63.
I don't think that diminishes the value of that ball because that's the record-breaking ball.
But it's not. But then the next one's a record-breaking ball. It's not the record-holding ball.
The record-holding ball, but the record-breaker.
Oh, it will still have value.
I think it still holds as value.
But does it go from 2.5 to 2.5, or I think it probably drops to like 1.8?
I don't know how it drops though. That was the ball.
How about this for a deal? I catch the ball. I'm going to give it back to Judge, but I want signed and authenticated the bat he used to hit it. And then playoff tickets and other stuff that people always go for.
Take money.
Whatever. But I want the bat because the bat's going to be worth something too, right? The bat that hit it and get it it's authenticated. This is the one. I think that would be worth quite a bit too.
Take money.
Money goes away. I mean, that bat's going to increase too in value. So that's maybe where if I was going to give it back, that's the route maybe I would go. By the way, they have one more game today, so he also hit home run 62. He broke 61 from Roger Maris in 61 years on game 161. Because they have one game left.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird how the world just comes together like that? I just realized that. They have one game left. He is playing today and needs to go 4 for 4 to try and catch Luis Ariz for the batting title and win the triple crown, but probably won't happen. I would assume Luis Ariz will win that by a couple percentage points, be my guess.
It's getting close, but yeah. I mean, just it's cool when you come down to the wire, and a little bit later maybe we can talk about, the playoffs are now set in the MLB as well.
Yep, they sure are. I take our first break, though. Fun, cool moment, historic moment in Major League Baseball there last night. Hear more from Aaron Judge maybe later on in the show. Take our first break, though. Come back and learn a little bit more about Sam Houston and that transition, how it's going at the FBS level. Ben Rikard will join us when we come back.
This is the Insiders on your home for NDSU sports. Bison 1660.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
If you're looking for a towing company that has graduated to the next level, you're looking for All Pro Towing. All Pro Towing specializes in heavy-duty and light-duty recovery. All Pro Towing is there for lockouts and jump starts and tire changes. Plus, they're available 24/7 for all emergencies. So when you're looking for a real pro, you need All Pro Towing. Save their number for when you need a tow. 701-541-3900.
Some things in life don't allow for a do-over. Your engagement ring is one of them. Stop in to Schmidt's Gems and find jewelry to design the perfect ring. Our team of diamond experts will give you the personalized service you deserve, hand-selecting the center diamond to crafting the ring of her dreams. Your once-in-a-lifetime engagement ring experience starts with Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry, 3241 42nd Street South, Fargo. Online at schmittsjewelry.com.
When it comes to your electrical needs, you only need one call, and that's to JDP Electric. Whether it's a small residential project or a larger commercial job, JDP's team of professionals will work with you closely to make the process easy. Their dedicated team of professionals can assist with any size project or idea you may have, and even provide a few ideas they see that fit your budget as well. Call 232-1991 today to experience the JDP difference, or online at jdpelectric.net.
Hey folks, don't let bad credit hold you back from buying a car. Corwin Public Wholesale can help you get financed today. Visit corwinwholesale.com or stop by their location on 38th Street South in Fargo. Corwin Public Wholesale has helped thousands of people who have bad credit, no credit, bankruptcy, repo, divorce, or late payments. And with their financing power, Corwin Public Wholesale can get you into any vehicle today. They accept all credit applications. Apply today, drive today at Corwin Public Wholesale.
The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
This is NDSU head men's basketball coach Dave Richmond, and you're listening to The Insiders on your home for NDSU athletics, Bison 1660.
Great to have Coach in on Monday. Have him on the show. Have Jory Collins, head women's basketball coach, coming up here in about 23 minutes on the show, preview NDSU women's basketball. We're here with you inside the Tharaldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Tharaldson Ethanol produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year. Tharaldson Ethanol is one of the nation's largest ethanol facilities. This 175 million gallon per year ethanol plant located just west of Castleton. You can join their growing team and fuel your future by going online to view their open positions at tharaldsonethanol.com. Here with you, Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, and Micah Bindi. And let's go to the Epic Companies hotline for our first guest of the day. He is the Assistant AD for Media Relations at Sam Houston. We will not hold that over him, though. He's a first-time guest, so he gets the gong as well. Ben Rikard, nice enough to join us on the program on our Epic Companies hotline. Ben, great to have you on. I see in the Twitter bio, before we dive into Sam Houston stuff, I see that you're a Texas Rangers fan. We were just talking Aaron Judge, hit home run 62 off the Rangers yesterday. Were you happy for history, or you're like, we really didn't want to give that one up to him?
Oh no, I think happy for history. I mean, I'm a baseball guy. I think first and foremost, really excited for the playoffs to get going. Can't say that I'm exactly a Yankees fan. I think as a Rangers fan, we've had plenty of our poor times with those guys from New York. But no, baseball's cool, man. Anytime you have big moments like that, I think that kind of trumps all.
Trust me, I'm a Twins fan, and we've lost to the Yankees, I think, a 6 straight playoff series. So I'm right there with you with not necessarily liking the Bronx Bombers, but happy to see history a little bit. The guy that jumped off the front row, would you have jumped off the front row into the bullpen to get the home run ball if it landed down there?
Not off a Yankee bat, no. I think if it might have been a Ranger that was doing it, I might have. Although I'm pushing 40 now, I don't think I could have cleared quite as far as that guy got.
Okay, fair enough on that one. But definitely a big time home run moment there at Texas at the Rangers' new stadium down there as well, which is a glorious. Goodness gracious. I'm just going to let Rob talk here for a little bit. A great facility down there in Arlington. Having you on, though, because of Sam Houston and this transition to the FBS that they're doing, kind of making the transition this year, not full-fledged FBS, but not eligible for the FCS playoffs. How's the transition been here so far for the Bearcats?
It's picking up steam. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. It's definitely an exciting time down here for everyone. The campus is excited. Our student athletes, our coaches, our administration, everyone's really excited, about what the future is holding. It's been something that's happened really quick. You think about just where we were, 12, 16 months ago. And, I don't know that this was in anybody's sight other than just a few people way above my pay grade. That thought that this might be a possibility. So we're getting there. There's still, it's like I said, something that happened fast. It's something that we've had to evaluate a lot on the fly. But there's a lot of quickly moving parts here, a lot of it behind the scenes that people will probably start to see a little bit more, I guess, tangible changes here, within the next year. I mean, obviously this year is a transition year on the football field. Next year we will be, a member of Conference USA, although at this point we're still going to be bowl ineligible next year. But I mean, kind of what everyone's told us, what our AD has said out loud, is that we're really eyeballing that 2024 season, our first season as full bowl eligibility, as kind of the one that we're really targeting to be, full bore, ready to go in as many aspects as we can.
Hey, Ben, Rob here. It's good to hear your voice, man. I miss you guys down in Southeast Texas. I want to let you know real quick that I've been listening to some really good Texas country, some Florida-Georgia line. I know how much you like those guys, right?
You know what? I heard that they broke up, and, most of the time, I think that's one of those kind of head of the Hydra kind of things. They cut it off, and it divides into four, and it actually just gets worse for everybody else.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's good stuff, man. I had to kind of bust your chops a little bit, man. Well, hey, I wanted to have you on too, not only to talk about that transition, but in my time there, just the rivalry with Stephen F. Austin and that Battle of the Piney Woods was one of the oldest rivalries in college football in the Lone Star State, and coming out victorious 11 in a row, taking that trophy now back to Huntsville, where it's probably going to permanently stay now. I just wanted your thoughts on that series and just how important rivalries are, not only for there in the state of Texas, but when you look at the entire landscape of college football and even in the FCS, how important those rivalries are to programs.
It's massive, man. I mean, the regional rivalries are such a cool thing, and it's something that's kind of going a little bit to the wayside, as you move up. And so, our people have been, very outspoken about, with the Piney Woods rivalry. I think everyone kind of refuses to use the word final or the last one, that kind of thing. They've used the word pause, used the word stop, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. But I mean, I tell you what, it's easy whenever people look down at the state of Texas and they look at the rivalries like Texas A&M that went to the wayside. You look at the one with Texas and Oklahoma, and there's some other ones. SMU TCU is a huge one. But I tell you what, contrary to what some people may know, I'm an SFA alum. As a matter of fact, I worked there for 6 years. I've had the privilege of seeing that rivalry from both sides of the Pine Curtain, and I tell you that's as deep seated, good old fashioned football hate as you're really ever going to find anywhere within this state that is just absolutely crazed, with pigskin. And it's a fun rivalry. It's a neat rivalry. The proximity of the schools, the similarities of the schools, as far as what the schools do well from a university side, the sizes of what the schools were, especially when this rivalry got going. These are high school teammates playing against each other. These are people that get recruited, against each other. Everything is so familiar. I live in a house where I'm an SFA alum and my wife is a 2-time Sam Houston grad. So, obviously I work at Sam Houston, but there's always those little ribbings that it's huge. And this past Saturday was a fun game. I tell you what, I don't think any of us saw that coming there at the end. I mean, it just kind of kept feeling as though SFA was going to win that game, and they were in control the whole time. And if they're just able to get one more score, or if that pass late from Trey Self is a little bit more on the money, and the guy walks in the end zone, it's a 2-score game, and that's that. But really similar game to the one last year. Of course, Rob, you were in the booth for that one. 21-20 last year, 17-16 this year, and we brought the trophy back to Huntsville. It's actually got that trophy has a place that it lives over at our student center, and there's this door that opens up, and they can take it out and take it to the game and come back and bring it back and put it right back there. I think now you can kind of put concrete around that thing. It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, again, we're talking to Ben Rikard, Assistant Athletic Director down in Texas with Sam Houston State. Ben, just another question from me is there's been so much movement in college football, and we've asked several guests this. I'm going to ask you as well. JMU moving up to FBS, Sam Houston moving to FBS. Where does this leave FCS programs like a North Dakota State when you're looking out 5-10 years from now? What do you see envisioning the future for FCS programs?
Something that I was told, whenever we made this move one of the reasons that we made this move was it wasn't so much for the here and the now. I think people don't quite realize that they may not be thinking that we're making, they think we're making this move for in 2 years to be bowl eligible for whatever bowl that may be. That's not necessarily the case. You got to look at the much larger picture across college athletics and college football specifically, and the way that everything has changed. And it's not going to stop yet. I mean, we still don't know exactly what our landscape as college football is going to look like here in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. And so for us, making this move, at least, speaking from our side, us making this move, we're really trying to position ourselves for what we feel like is going to be that next change. If you end up having, conferences like the SEC and the Pac-12, if they end up making these moves that everyone ends up talking about, and they're playing kind of in their own world, where does that leave the rest of us in that next tier? And so what we're trying to do is position ourselves to be successful when that next change comes. And I think a school like NDSU, a program like NDSU, I mean, good grief, they are 100% ready for that change. They can compete with anybody. I think we've seen that. I think everyone up there knows that. Everyone down here definitely knows that. That is as formidable of a program as you are going to find anywhere in the country, with a great fan base and support. The administration up there has done a great job of supporting them, financially and with facilities and so on and so forth. Done an awesome job. I think they're in a great position. I really do. I think they're in an awesome position to make that jump whenever that opportunity comes. And I think, the administration there, that's all you can really do is continue to prepare yourself, continue to knock on those doors, and hopefully one of those days that door opens. And whenever it does, they're going to be able to walk right through it, run right through it, and they're going to be competing immediately, similar to what a JMU has done. Because if you look, over there in Harrisonburg, those guys prepared for this for a decade, 15 years. And so much so that they were able to walk right in from the FCS to the FBS, and they are competing right now at a level that I think some other people in a higher maybe higher media markets didn't quite realize they would be able to do. NDSU would be able to do that same type thing if and when the opportunity presents itself.
Again, Ben Rikard with us here on the program talking Sam Houston, this transition. 2-2 right now on the year. Start off with a couple of losses, then a couple of wins in the last two games. Eastern Kentucky is a very interesting game coming up in this next week actually not this weekend, but the next weekend. They have a bye week this week, does Sam Houston, but Eastern Kentucky on the following weekend. How do you think the first couple of years of that transition go once you get FBS and bowl eligible and you're in a conference full time? How do you think that transition goes for the Bearcats?
I don't think that anybody is in a better geographical position than what we are right now, and I think that really lends to our advantage. There are so many quality football players in this state alone, and when you look at the way that things have changed, again, in the last 10, 15 years, you see so many guys that go and play FBS that you would never think would. Why are you leaving this state? Why are you leaving this area when you can compete for an FCS championship? And they're going to places like Utah State or Washington State or Akron or places along those lines that just don't seem to fit. Now we're about to have an extra 25 scholarships every year that there's opportunities for these kids right here in the state of Texas, right here in the Houston and the Dallas and the Austin and the San Antonio areas to stay right here in the Lone Star State and compete here in front of their family, in front of their friends, in front of everybody here in the state of Texas. And if we're able to do that, if we are able to continue to recruit this state well, I think we're going to be just fine, because there's enough talent right here within 300 miles of our campus. That's something that Coach Keeler talks about all the time. It's like, if I stand in the middle of downtown Huntsville, Texas, and draw a 3-hour circle around Huntsville, we may be in the best spot in the country whenever you look at all the cities and how much talent that we can touch from right here. Now, we still have some things we need to do as far as facilities and whatnot, and those things are being addressed by administration and university personnel and whatnot, and those things will be addressed as they need to be. But I think as long as we're able to keep that talent right here, I think we're going to be fine. Don't get me wrong, we're not going to be knocking on the doors of the college football playoff within 5 years. I don't think I think that's not a reality that any one of us have, but I think we'll be able to be competitive quicker than what people think they are.
in Sam Houston as well, making this transition. I know when we were down there, NDSU being we on that one, for the spring season for that playoff game, there was, I think, some facilities being built. There was different locker rooms and things that were in the process of being built. What do things look like from a facility standpoint? And financially, obviously, you're more scholarships, more money invested into football, into athletics overall, more facilities upgrades, and in the NIL world, it maybe takes more to I don't know, quote-unquote, get players at that FBS level too. How, from a financial and facility standpoint, is Sam Houston ready for this transition?
I think we're going to be here in the next 2 years. I know that we have significant support from the other side of campus. From our president, Dr. Alyssa White. From the Texas State University system, and those are big pieces to make all this happen. They had to be 110% on board before papers were signed and we started moving. And so, whenever you guys were here, that our field house was under construction. I think we sank somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 million into that. Don't quote me exactly, but somewhere in that ballpark. And that was a complete gut job of that building, which is kind of the heartbeat of our athletics, and especially our football team. And so that was a huge undertaking for us to get that built. And of course, we were in that this last fall, and that building has continued to be upgraded, over the course of this past year. And there's a lot of other things that are, again, in the works. That's the best way that I think we can address it. Our athletic director, Bobby Williams, has been pretty out front about that, as far as knowing that we need to make significant upgrades to Bauer Stadium. In the press box, with again expanding our new facility and locker rooms and whatnot that we've already done. And these are all things that have to be done. I think we're in position to do it, but again, there's a lot of moving parts that are moving very quickly behind the scenes.
Well, Ben, just incredible work. I'm thankful for your friendship and just the leadership, getting to know you over those 4 years. I'm going to be honest, man, it was a little bit tough taking off that orange and wearing the green, but I'm proudly wearing the green now. It made it a lot easier knowing that Sam Houston was heading to the FBS and there would be no more playing between Sam Houston and North Dakota State. Made it a little bit easier for me.
Yeah, I get it. We certainly enjoyed the time that you had here. You definitely left it better than you found it. I think that's all anyone can ever ask. And you definitely went to a good spot. We've had great interaction with the people from NDSU that we've worked with over the past few years. I've been here since 2016, so I got to work with Ryan Peralt and those guys up there. For I guess the trip in Fargo in 2017, and then whenever they came down here for that spring game. And so it's been a really good relationship. Ryan and I still talk, from time to time about certain things, and you're surrounded by really good people up there. I just hope you can stay warm. I'm looking outside my window right now, and there's not a cloud in the sky. It's 81 degrees, and I mean it's kind of lovely right now.
I do our weather reports on the station, Ben. Tomorrow, high of 48.
Yeah, I don't even know if I dropped my air conditioner right now, if I could get it to 48 before Thanksgiving.
And Ben, by the way, if you see him, he always wears shorts. You'll never see this guy hardly ever in pants. So Ben, it would be tough for you to be up here, man.
It would be tough, but you know what? Like I tell everybody, I work indoors, man. So whether I wear shorts or whether I wear long pants, it really doesn't matter. I wore shorts the other day to the Piney Woods in the press box, and it's just kind of what I do. You got to go for comfort, man.
Ben Rikard, again, nice enough to join us, the assistant athletic director there, assistant AD of media relations for Sam Houston, first-time guest on the program as well. Ben, appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on with us and giving us a little inside view into the transition for the Bearcats.
Absolutely, guys. Good luck to all you guys this season. Look forward to keeping up with you, and good luck on what's hopefully another run for Frisco for the Bison.
Good luck to you guys as well. There he is, Ben Rikard, nice enough to give us time on this program today. Excited for that, and it's going to be an interesting transition for them the rest of this season and going into the next couple of years as well. Let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number one. Jory Collins, head coach, NDSU women's basketball, just after noon.
You've got the insiders on your Bison Nation station, Bison 1660.
Dakota Refrigeration has been helping the Bison succeed behind the scenes. From their training room to their dining room, from milk to medicine, from ice to ice cream, Dakota Refrigeration has been serving Minnesota, Montana, and the Dakotas for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, Dakota Refrigeration is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical needs. Dakota Refrigeration, located in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot.
ProSeed experience is the people that we're working with, the hands-on. We're not a super large company, but we're hands-on dealing with customers. I know most of these fields because of the time I've been covering this area. In many cases, I've covered with up to the third generation of operators on the farm, from grandpa down to the son that's being handed over to now, and it's very, very rewarding and fulfilling to be able to do that.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Farmers, Theraldson Ethanol is now open for corn receiving Monday and Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for dry corn and Wednesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for wet and dry corn. Theraldson Ethanol is located at 3549 153rd Avenue Southeast in Castleton, North Dakota. For more information, contact Brad or Doug at 701-347-3321 or visit Theraldson Ethanol online at cmgtheraldsonethanol.com. That's cmgtheraldsonethanol.com.
This is Menli from Healing with Hyperbarics, and I want to talk to you today about how hyperbaric oxygen can help you if you've had radiation in the past. Radiation saves lives by killing cancer cells, but the damaging effects of radiation to the tissues continues. This leads to poor blood flow in these tissues, causing a range of problems, depending on which tissues are radiated. If you've had radiation in the past and struggle with any post-radiation injuries, book an appointment with us at Healing with Hyperbarics to see how hyperbaric oxygen can help you heal.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Been pretty nice, high in the low 70s today and mostly sunny conditions. Tonight we do get some more clouds that will come into the region and winds up to 20 to 25 miles per hour, a low in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, bring out the jackets, partly sunny and breezy, and only a high of 47. This weather update brought to you by Heartland Trust Company, an independent and local trust company where their priority is your financial future. Visit them online at heartlandtrust.com.
Doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, you're always welcome where there's Jim Beam. Small town guy in a big city guy in a small town, wherever Jim Beam is welcome, you'll be welcome. Country guy at a rock show, Viking fan at a Packer game. Just look for the Jim Beam and you know you're always welcome. Your friends at Jim Beam remind you to drink responsibly.
You may not have heard, but the Insiders is now under new management.
Did you see the memo about this?
Here's Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo. Okay?
On Bison 1660.
Sun Butter is the maker of delicious sunflower butters the whole family can enjoy. Sun Butter is free of the top 8 food allergens, including peanuts, tree nuts, soy, and dairy, grown in the tri-state area and produced locally in Fargo at Red River Commodities. Sun Butter, simple ingredients, delicious flavor. And all of our game week coverage of NDSU and Indiana State brought to you by the fine folks there at Dakota Nation Sportsbook. You can go place your bets right now, Dakota Nation Sportsbook. You can get those stay-and-play packages. You can stay there for a little while. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere at Dakota Nation Sportsbook. And it's where you got to go to bet on the border. That Dakota Marker game coming up next weekend. You can bet on that game at Dakota Nation Sportsbook, and you can win a stay-and-play package to Dakota Nation Sportsbook, Dakota Magic Casino, through us on the show. You can win a stay-and-play package next Thursday. We give it away. All you got to do to register is text the keyword BET, B-E-T, text BET to 701-476-1660, and then you'll be registered to win the stay-and-play package courtesy of Dakota Nation Sportsbook and Dakota Magic Casino. Great place down there, great area. I know if you're coming up from South Dakota, you can bet there. If you're in Fargo, just drive down. It's not too far of a drive. Good spot to be in, great atmosphere for all the betting. You bet, then you watch it on the TVs, you get the food and drink. Awesome spot down there. Take a break. Wrap up hour number 1 right there. Ran a little long with Ben Rikard, but a great conversation finding out about that FBS transition. Take a break. We'll come back. How about some women's basketball? Head coach Jory Collins of NDSU women's basketball with a lot of fresh faces on the team. Coach joins us to start off hour number 2 of The Insiders on a Wednesday next.
In the market to own your own place? Live in the most epic condo in all of the metro at Envy at the Lights.
With options like 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units available, enjoy the best view in all of West Fargo. Epic condo owners can enjoy no lawn care or snow care in a privately managed building with a community room and fitness room. It's sophisticated luxury that you own. Set up your tour today with Taryn at condosbyepic.com and purchase the best unit for you. It's time to love where you call home.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. Top-ranked North Dakota State got off to a fast start and never looked back in a 27-14 homecoming win versus Youngstown State this past Saturday. Fullback Hunter Lipke continued his domination on the gridiron, accounting for 106 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Cam Miller was 13 for 18 and 145 yards through the air. Place kicker Griffin Crosa, coming off his second career Missouri Valley Special Teams Player of the Week award, remained perfect on the season, converting 2 field goals and all his point after kicks. Tight end Joe Stuffle led all receivers with 4 grabs for 52 yards. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. Next up for the Bison, they are back on the road to battle the Indiana State Sycamores on Saturday.
When you say integrity, performance, and solutions, that covers a lot of ground, just like Legacy Seeds. They cover a lot of ground with championship-yielding soybeans, corn bred for this geography, sunflowers and canola from New Seed, salt-tolerant and soil-healing alfalfa, silage corn, and more. Legacy Seeds, Alice, North Dakota. Integrity in every bag. Give them a call, 701-689-6501. Legacy Seeds.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
And here's what you need to know.
Some quarterback injury news to update. NFL media says Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is not currently involved in practice in a substantial way. He'll work off to the side as he recovers from thumb surgery. NFL media also reporting the Giants didn't sign any of the quarterbacks they worked out on Tuesday, a positive sign for Daniel Jones' availability this weekend in London against the Packers. Also, the Giants are not likely to have receiver Kenny Golladay for that game. He suffered an MCL sprain against the Bears this past weekend. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow on the Colin Cowherd podcast said that he's likely had at least one concussion in his career and that he's forgotten parts of games in the past. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel said defensive back Xavier Howard is day-to-day with a groin injury, and Commanders rookie running back Brian Robinson has been cleared to return to practice. I'm Nick Cope.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proseed. Need seed? Think Proseed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Hour number 2 on a Wednesday for you. Happy to be inside our Thoroughs and Ethanol Broadcast Center with you today. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, Micah Bindi. Crew is all here. Tomorrow we are live from Sicky's off 45th. Come out, watch the show, enjoy some great food, great service. You can register for the final time to win our Jim Beam insulated cooler. We'll give away that insulated cooler from Jim Beam at the show tomorrow. So that's your last chance. Obviously, yard signs, footballs, koozies, and tickets to a little game called NDSU versus SDSU, a football game that we play every year. Maybe you've heard of it. That'll be a fun game, and it's great to have that one inside the Fargo Dome again. Hopefully that rock is staying in Fargo for a little while.
Yeah, I heard they play for a rock.
Yeah.
Weird.
Is this a pebble? No, it's big rock. Very important. It's very heavy, I've also been told. I've never actually lifted it myself. I've been told it's very, very heavy. But after you win a game between those two teams, it feels a little bit lighter when you go over and pick that thing up. All right, now let's go over to the Epic Companies hotline, though. Start off hour number 2 with the head coach of NDSU women's basketball, one Jory Collins. Nice enough to give us some time on the Epic Companies hotline. Great to have the coach on with us. Jory, great to have you on with us. Appreciate the time. I know things are getting busy for you and the squad right now. To have the team back at practice for the last couple of weeks, how has that been?
Well, hey, guys, appreciate you having me on. You're right. We're full speed ahead. I think just had our 7th practice yesterday and our 8th this afternoon. So it's been fun. They've been a great group and making a little progress on a daily basis. This is all we're asking for at this time of year, but so far so good.
To have a whole team back, I know there's a lot of new faces, a lot of new pieces on this team, and we'll get to some of them in a little bit. But when you've got a player returning of the caliber of Heaven Hamlin, how much more comfortable does that make things for you when you've got not just a good player, but kind of an extension of you, I think, on the court as well, and a player that can kind of relay your message to some of the younger players or players who just haven't been around the program as long?
Yeah, well, it's, Heaven's now going into her 3rd year with us, and it shows every day. I mean, you've seen her. She's an ultimate competitor. She's just not that way in the game. She's that way in practice as well. She's trying to win every drill, every shooting drill, every 5-on-5 that we're playing. And that kind of competitiveness rubs off. She's fully understands what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it now in her 3rd year, and has done great with that. And I would throw Abby Schulte in that mix as well. Just having those two as returning guards, being able to help these new players and young players not only with X and O stuff, but where we stand in line for this drill, how we communicate this ball screen defense, how we do these things. There's a million details involved, and having a couple returners that really get it, be able to share that with the new players is, that's huge for us.
Hey, Coach, Rob Hipp here. Good to chat with you finally. Excited about your program this year, and you've already talked a little bit about some of those younger players. I believe 4 freshmen on the roster this year. How are they kind of starting to settle in, and how are they doing early on through these first couple of weeks?
They're doing well. We were really excited about, right away we had Abby Graham and Elle Evans, who we knew had chances to come in and were going to have a chance to impact us. They haven't done anything since they've been here to change my mind whatsoever, and probably have even earned more responsibility with the summers that they've had and how they've showed out in practice so far. Leah McKenzie, Australian point guard, was kind of a late addition for us. We were recruiting and looking for point guards and had multiple kids ready to visit. And she just became available when a coaching change happened at New Mexico State. So it was great to get her in. She's going to be a great change of pace point guard for us and be able to play a little bit. Marva Bedziri is the Swedish kid. We've recruited her. She's been committed to us for a long time, over a year. And to be able to finally get her in here, she had some issues getting here, and just it was a struggle in the summer to make sure we had all those I's dotted and T's crossed, bringing somebody internationally straight over there. But since she's been here, she has improved as much as anybody in a short amount of time and has a really bright future.
Abby Graham's one of the players I wanted to touch on a little bit, a freshman guard from Portland, Oregon, coming all the way to North Dakota. First, how did you find out about it? How do you link up with a player out in Oregon? It's not the typical spot you go and find players at NDSU. And then what can she bring for you on the offensive end, at least here to start as a freshman? 49% from the field, 40% from 3 in high school, McDonald's All-American nominee, and the Oregon Gatorade Player of the Year nominee, too. It seems like a great player coming into the program.
Yeah, I mean, Abby Graham is super skilled. As far as getting her from Oregon, anymore, just with all the technology and communication, some of those bridges of distance are coming down. Those walls are coming down recruiting-wise, and the more relationships you have with people, the more you find out, and people that will say, hey, this kid's available. We were looking to bring in some sort of wing. We didn't start recruiting Abby till probably January of this year. And to see somebody of that caliber, who was the number 1 ranked player in her class in Oregon, still be looking for the right fit for herself. We were pretty fortunate to get in there and find a match with her. But, just when you watch her and you look at her, she's probably pound for pound the strongest player on our team. Just here as a freshman, has an unbelievable work ethic in the weight room and in the gym. She's had multiple training sessions with high-level trainers and has just been really committed to her game her entire time as a high school player because she can score the ball. She's one of those in practice when she's open. I think most people think it's going in. The thing that she's going to have to continue to get better at is the defensive end of the floor, some of those team concepts on that end, which almost all freshmen struggle at early, but she's got a really high ceiling for us.
And a few other players that I've noticed on the roster you brought in, and not a complete overhaul of the roster, but I think specific players and specific careers you were looking at. Abby Draper from Bradley. You mentioned Leah already with New Mexico, and some other players that have come in from teams that have either been to the NCAA tournament, had success in their conferences, or have just been pretty good programs over the last couple of years. Was that something you were looking at, of trying to find players in that transfer portal that have had that success or can kind of have been where you guys are trying to get to in terms of top of a conference?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're analyzing those things, and especially the portal, Andy, it's just, there's a lot more than just saying, oh, hey, this kid's in the portal, let's go get a 6'2" kid, or that's what we need and we got to go get. You got to find out why they're in there, reasons for transferring, who they are individually, how does that fit into your team. That kind of thing becomes just as important as what kind of talent they have. We were fortunate we got to play against Abby Draper last year. She came into our gym and played, and I think that was maybe her first start. Last year, ended up starting a bunch of games for Bradley and ended up being on the all-freshman team in the Missouri Valley Conference, which we have a ton of respect for that league as far as women's basketball is concerned. And, she's been terrific. She has gotten so much stronger since she's been here in June. She'll have a chance to start some games for us. Is going to be an impact player on both ends. Just really long, good athlete, can shoot the three, just diverse on both ends. And then probably our other transfer with really good experience. I mean, Taylor Brown as a grad transfer. She was a starter on American's team that made the NCAA tournament last year and has played over 100 games. Knowing that she was available and interested in getting back closer to home, being a Lakeville kid, was probably a perfect fit for us and for her just to be able to get back home. But we needed some experience to come back. We've had Dietz in and around the block for a long time. And Taylor, even though her experience wasn't with us, it was pretty easy in the summer when we start putting things on and talking concepts that she's played a lot of basketball in her career and just catches on so fast and has really been a good leader for us just given her experience.
And, Taylor Brown from American. I believe American was in the NCAA tournament last year before losing to Michigan, so that's a player with that NCAA tournament kind of experience as well. On Abby Draper, I noticed, this is a kind of an off-the-wall question for you. Abby Draper, Abby Graham, Abby Schulte, is there a process for keeping the Abbies straight and organized for you?
Yeah, so we have Drapes. That's Abby Draper. Abby Graham has turned into AG.
Okay.
I used to call her Teddy when she first got here for Teddy Graham. Who else do we have?
Abby Schulte.
Abby Schulte is just Schulte.
Yep.
And do we have another one?
No, I think you're good. Those are the three. So.
Three? Oh, okay. And just be ready. In a couple months, we might be adding another one.
If you bring another one in, you can just call that one Abby. I mean, you got Drapes and AG. Yeah, there you go.
Everybody's got their nicknames, so we keep them separate.
Coach, there's so much excellence in all programs with Bison Athletics, and I just wanted to ask you, kind of when you're recruiting, what characteristics are you looking for in these girls?
Well, we're trying to take this thing to another level, Rob, and I don't know that we didn't take a step forward last year like I anticipated and how we should have. Really lately, the last two recruiting cycles that we've had, the focus has been on, do you love basketball and how competitive are you? Besides the things on your character and all those things. If that's not very good, we don't even consider you. But kids that just absolutely love the game, that want to be in the gym on their own because that's what they're passionate about, we've done a really good job. Coach Dillon's done a really good job of finding people that he knows fit what we want to do and where we want to go. I couldn't be more pleased with the class that we're getting ready to sign, the class we're going to sign next year, and the previous class that we signed. So that's 3 in a row that we're going to feel really good about, just really upgrading our talent and what our ceiling can be as a program.
And Jory Collins, head coach of NDSU women's basketball, with us on the Epic Companies hotline. I wanted to focus on one of the games in your non-conference schedule. We've talked about this one a little bit during the week already, trying to get as many fans as we can to pack the Shack for this one and for all the games, but especially this non-conference game, because you got the Gophers coming to town on November 17th, a Thursday night inside the Shack. That's a Big Ten team coming up here to Fargo. I know you've had Wisconsin in years past as well, so it's not the first time a Big Ten team has been here, but that kind of a get. What does it say about women's basketball that the team's willing to come up here and play you guys here, and how good of a get is that one to have the Gophers here in Fargo?
Well, it's all, I hope it's just a great experience for everybody involved. I know it'll be awesome for our team, obviously for our fans, to be able to and watch a high-caliber Big Ten team come in with those kind of players. Obviously, Lindsey Whalen is a legend in athletics and women's basketball, multiple Hall of Famer in about every way that you can be. She's a great person also. I always enjoy visiting with her. It was just an opportunity. We're looking for non-conference games to challenge us and getting ready for Summit League play. They want some non-conference games against people that can challenge them and get them ready for Big Ten play. It's not very far away. It just makes a lot of sense. A lot of Big Ten teams are I should say, BCS or Power 5 teams don't want to do home and homes. So we're pretty fortunate to be able to do that. I appreciate Lindsay just saying, hey, we can do this easily, being 3.5 hours away. So it'll be fun. We'll be looking forward just as much to go back there next year, and hopefully we can keep getting those kind of teams lined up in our non-conference and bring some more in.
And I wanted to ask you one more question, last one from me. You mentioned the conference and wanting to take some steps forward last year. You felt like you didn't. I've been looking at the conference, and obviously those 2 teams in South Dakota have proven they were legitimate programs and elite programs at the women's basketball level, the Summit League level, not even mid-major, but even power, high major level. And SDSU's loaded this year, but USD, there's a coaching change with Don Plitzowite out, Kayla Carius coming in, and obviously an experienced coach. He's been there before as an assistant coach. Still got some good players as well. But when you see something like that happen at another school in the conference, do you view that as, man, this is an opportunity for us to try and take a step in the conference, and maybe there's a little bit of a crack there to try and get through?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right, Andy. And I wouldn't just say, USD has tremendous players. They all didn't get to play last year. They're all ready to play now. But losing a coaching staff and multiple starters didn't just happen to USD. That happened to UMKC as well. New coaching staff, new players. Oral Roberts, new coaching staff, starters gone. There's just, we have to do our preseason top 10 players in the league, and there was a lot of players nominated that didn't play last year. So it's going to be completely different than the last couple years. And I don't know, there's going to be people you don't know that rise up and have great years. But we're looking forward to the opportunity because we feel really good about our team, and we feel like there's a chance for us to be there right at the top.
I'm right there with you. I think there's definitely some openings in the Summit League this year, and hopefully you guys can take advantage of that. Head coach of NDSU women's basketball, Jory Collins, with us. Their first game coming up here at the start of November, and that great one against Minnesota in November 17th against the Golden Gophers at the Shack. Coach, always appreciate it. Thanks for giving us some time, and best of luck here at the start of the season upon us.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
There he goes, head coach Jory Collins, NDSU women's basketball. Great coach, great guy. Fun to get to know him a little bit over the last few years. And Evan Hamlin's a great player, but they've got some players coming in too. And I know you say transfer portal, you don't really know much about them, but man, there's some good players coming in from some really good schools. You got a player from Bradley and Abby Draper. That's a really good conference in the Missouri Valley. She started a bunch of games. We mentioned Brown as well, coming from American. They've got some talented players coming in. And I think maybe not quite this year, but Abby Graham, incoming freshman, will probably have a role this year. And for a couple of years, that might be a really good get for them out of Oregon.
I think it's pretty special too when you go and look at the roster and you see 4 international players that are playing on this squad, and you don't see that a lot, in a mid-major program. So I just think it speaks highly of. I go back to the word excellence and just what NDSU stands for, what the coaching staff wants to do, and you're getting people from outside the states. That's incredible, and appreciate Coach Collins and all the efforts that he does to just help these girls and be their best out there on the court. It's going to be a good year.
And two of them, Leah McKenzie and Georgia Baldwin, both from Melbourne, Australia as well. I believe they went to the same secondary school or college or whatever in Australia. Don't call them high schools there, but the same school in Australia, and both from Melbourne, Australia. And then she mentioned Mardava Bedziri, Stockholm, Sweden, freshman. I know it's a player they're very excited about, probably a little bit raw and dealing with that language barrier still a little bit as a first-year player in the program, but someone else they're really excited about for at least maybe not the immediate future, but the long-term future, especially for her at this program for NDSU. Take a break. We'll come back. Our thoughts from that conversation, and also over and underwhelming NFL teams through the first month of the season. That and more when we come back here. Hour number 2 of The Insiders.
A sports talk station that Bison Nation deserves. Bison 1660.
Not scary. This haunted house is boring. Dude, chainsaw murderers are so 1980s. This Halloween, nothing is as scary as a leaky roof right before winter. So get your roof redone as soon as possible before it gives you eternal nightmares. Visit FargoRoofing.com to schedule your roof replacement today. By the way, dude, you totally scream like your girl.
Fargo Roofing and Siding.
Corwin Toyota's lot is overflowing with used vehicles, and it's time to clear them out. Find the biggest selection of used cars, trucks, SUVs, and vans. All makes, all models, all priced to sell. Shop their huge selection of certified pre-owned Toyotas. It's the next best thing to new. Certified pre-owned vehicles come with an exceptional coverage policy. Each unit undergoes a 160-point inspection to ensure only the best receive the certified seal of approval. Shop Corwin Toyota today. CorwinToyota.com.
Experience the best with a staycation at the luxurious Intercontinental MSP. Relax and refresh in one of our deluxe guest rooms. Lounge with luxury linens, a spa-inspired shower, and all of our stylish amenities. Choose a comfy booth or a secluded nook to enjoy the handcrafted cocktails at the award-winning Bradstreet Crafts House. And bring out your competitive side with our jumbo Scrabble board and impressive game selection. Or enjoy the vast wine selection at Lavoya Brasserie. Ready, set, relax. Visit IntercontinentalMSP.com.
Code Green is coming alive! Bison football is back on the road this weekend as they battle the Indiana State Sycamores. Our comprehensive coverage starts at 6 a.m. with kickoff scheduled for noon on Saturday. Coverage of NDSU at Indiana State is brought to you by Dakota Nations Sportsbook. Dakota Nations Sportsbook is located inside the Dakota Magic Casino in Hankinson. The Dakota Nations Sportsbook is the most action-packed sportsbook in the Midwest. Learn more at DakotaNationsSportsbook.com.
Tune in each week for Matt Entz's Game Week press conferences right here on Bison 1660. Every Monday at 2 o'clock, Coach Entz recaps the previous game and looks ahead to the upcoming opponent for the Bison. Our coverage of the NDSU press conferences is brought to you by Bonanza Egg, your local independent egg dealer. Every Monday at 2 o'clock, Matt Entz's Game Week press conferences right here on your home for NDSU football, Bison 1660.
Bourbon lovers are a distinctive group, embracing the differences from other spirits, all while expecting the rich variation of a good whiskey. That's why the Fistful of Bourbon folks, who have over 100 years of whiskey blending experience, are born to serve to those lovers of good bourbon, creating the masterpiece of blending 5 distinct bourbon whiskeys, sweet, balanced, and floral, with notes of cinnamon and licorice and buttery toffee. Fistful of Bourbon delivers a smooth, rich, full-fisted flavor like all top-shelf bourbon whiskey should. See it all at fistfulofbourbon.com. Please consume Fistful of Bourbon responsibly.
Good news! Gateway Clearance Center's construction is all done. Stop by the newly remodeled Clearance Center and experience Clearance Center pricing. Clearance Center savings. The all-new Gateway Clearance Center has been expanded and remodeled to serve you better with a bigger and better selection of clean used vehicles. The Gateway Clearance Center has over 250 used cars and trucks. Payments starting at just $199 a month. On-the-spot financing. Gateway Clearance Center, 2302 South University Drive, Fargo.
Take us with you wherever you go with the Bison 1660 app, powered by Thunder Seed, first in the field. Now, back to the Insiders.
$12:25 here on the Insiders with you. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, Micah Bindi. Today's show also brought to you in part by Men's Hair Company, the only place to go for haircuts, waxing, shaves, beard care, and more. 5 FM and West Fargo locations, Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo locations for Men's Hair Company. You can go online to Men's Hair Co. right now and schedule your appointment, menshairco.com. Schedule your appointment so you can just walk in, get whatever you need to get done. We talked about the waxing for your eyebrows that Rob clearly needs to do. I do the nose waxing as well.
Don't say that when she may be listening, all right? I don't need to come home to that.
It's not good enough. It's not up to our standards here in Fargo. No, I'm just kidding. It's just eyebrows.
Well, big shout out to Men's Hair Co. And we were talking earlier, the Yankees have a very, very strict policy.
Aaron Judge, yep.
All players, coaches, and male executives are forbidden to display any facial hair other than mustaches, except for, you know, this is Z in there, and mustaches. It's starting to happen on the S's now for
all
me.
the Z's?
The mustaches,
S's
except for religious reasons, and scalp hair may not be grown below the collar. So that Men's Hair Co. would be great for them.
Yeah, that could be the official haircutting partner of the New York Yankees. They have that strict policy. You know, I think Micah was asking me before the show, do they have like a haircut policy or a facial hair policy? I'm like, yep. I remember that because I think it was Johnny Damon, the longtime Red Sox, who had long hair, way down. He became a Yankee, and it was chopped off until just above the collar, basically. So they got that policy for haircuts.
Lame.
And facial hair. You can only have a mustache. You can have the long curly Q mustache if you want, but just a mustache.
Let the lettuce flow, man.
I'm with you.
Aaron Judge will stay with the Yankees if they let him grow out a beard. If not, he'll leave.
What if he actually went there and said, I've got 2 offers. I am leaving unless you let me grow a beard and my hair out. Do you think that actually, like, if push came to shove, I got to think that policy could go away. Right? Like, who cares about that? I get why it was first installed or whatever, businessmen wearing suits and stuff back in the 50s or whatever. Now I think, and there are probably multiple franchises that had it back in the day, but now we can get rid of it, right?
It sounds like one of those Sunday blue laws, you know, where you can't serve alcohol until afternoon, you can't buy a car on Sundays, that kind of stuff, which makes no sense. In Texas, the dealer, I don't know if it's the same here, but the dealers aren't open on Sunday. They have to be closed one day out of the week. It's a law. They have to be closed one day out of the week.
Used to be that way in Minnesota. It was completely closed on Sundays, and then they changed that. I don't know, 3 years ago, something like that. They can be open on Sundays.
Yep.
It just led to more buying of booze on Saturdays. Really all it did. Now you just spread it out a little bit more.
And then restaurants came up with a unique thing to where they said, okay, you can't buy alcohol if by itself. That was the law. But you could with an appetizer or something to eat. So they would just come out with like some dollar sandwich that was nothing, like a piece of bread with butter on it.
Yep.
Toast. I mean, is that right, Micah? Toast. Yeah, it sounds like toast. Yeah. Anyways, you know where I'm going with this.
Some butter and jam.
So you just buy some toast, and then now you can buy your booze and go around the law.
Yeah. All the loopholes, those old laws. By the way, NDSU and Indiana State, the next stop on the road to the ring for the Bison, trying to get to 3-0 in conference play. And 3 straight wins after that loss against Arizona, which seems like a long time ago now. The next stop on the road to the ring, which is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality, workmanship, and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. Thoughts on the conversation with Jory Collins and earlier this week with Dave Richmond, NDSU men's and women's basketball? Any thoughts as we're basically a month away? Their first game is November 7th for both programs.
I mean, it's easy to say, but I think both coaches very optimistic about this upcoming season. You know, hearing from Coach Richmond and just how their program continues to develop. And on the women's side, some young players there and seeing how those freshmen are going to start to mold and grow. And again, I'm just looking forward to both of those. Looking forward to getting to know the coaches. Of course, I'll get to know Coach Richmond really well as the season goes on. But, yeah, man, excited. High expectations going into this season. You want to get out there. And, to the goals, I didn't ask them. To the goal, I would assume the goals remain the same, just like football. It's get out and win the Valley or win the Summit.
Yeah.
Not the Valley, win the Summit.
Yeah, we get used to that, too. Yeah. Valley, Summit. I make the mistake every once in a while. I just kind of mix up your words. But, yeah, that's clearly the goal. On the women's side, it's more difficult because you've had SDSU and USD there, and those have been 2 programs that not just like really good mid-major programs. They are ranked almost every year now for the last couple of years. They've gotten ranked in the top 25. USD and SDSU have made deep runs in the NCAA tournament. They've won the Summit League for a number of years in a row. SDSU still got everybody there, the same coaching staff, and they're pretty loaded. But Jory just told us, right? Coach told us, and I'm right there with them. New coaching staff, and not a complete overhaul, but a lot of players gone from the roster for USD. New coaching staff for Oral Roberts. New coaching staff, new players for UMKC. It's the same thing. And those are 3 of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league a year ago. And NDSU, 2 years ago, I believe, finished 3rd in the league. So there's a chance for them to kind of establish themselves up in that upper tier for the Summit League again this year. And I know that's absolutely the goal. It was last year. They fell a little bit short of it. They're going to redo it, got some new players, kind of revamp the roster a bit, and I know that's definitely going to be the goal again this year, is to go out there, compete at the very top of that Summit League, and try and win yourself a Summit League tournament. You don't have to win the regular season, but that tournament's really what matters, because mid-major basketball, it's one bid leagues usually. On the women's side, it has been in 2 bid league multiple times in the last couple of years, which has been really fun to see.
When I was calling down in Southeast Texas, joining the Western Athletic Conference, that tournament was held in Las Vegas. I will be honest, I am very happy that I do not have to travel to Las Vegas for a basketball tournament. It's weird. You're at a college basketball tournament, you're walking through a casino filled full of smoke. It was awkward.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like basketball atmosphere to me.
You'll absolutely love the Summit League tournament. I'll tell you that. They do a really good job with it. The Summit League, make sure that thing is done right down there in Sioux Falls and in the Denny Sanford Premier Center. It gets packed. It's basically a home venue for either South Dakota team, USD or SDSU. I would love to get some more fans on there for the Bison and pack that place full of green and gold on a whatever it is, Monday night or Tuesday night, whenever they have the championship game for the men's or the women's, and get more Bison fans down there. But they do it right. It is packed, and it is loud, and it's a raucous environment. It's a very fun tournament. You will definitely enjoy that one.
And speaking of Bison Nation and just fan support, season tickets as low as $100. I mean, that is extremely affordable for the entire season. Those are on sale at gobison.com. You can get those. They went on sale actually this past Saturday to get started. So get on there, get your season tickets, come out and support the Bison, not just in football, but in all the sports that you can.
We talk about game day atmospheres, too. For the last couple of years, alcohol has been available at the Shack. They expanded the availability of that last year. It will be the same, I believe, this upcoming season. They had some new concession stand food last year, too, and that will be back, and there's more improvements as well to the game day experience for NDSU men's and women's basketball and wrestling, which all take place there in the Shack. So make sure you get out there and enjoy some basketball games and wrestling this year inside the Shack, Sanford Health Athletic Complex. Tell you what, I know we are where we're at on the breaks. I know Mike is looking at me, then he's looking at the screen, looking at me, looking at the screen. What are we doing? Overwhelming and underwhelming. Let's make it its own segment. Let's get some football bed music for it. We'll break here. We'll come back. Overwhelming and underwhelming NFL teams for the first month here of the season. We'll have that for you. Have mine, Rob's, and Micah's when we come back here. Hour number 2 on a Wednesday here on The Insiders, brought to you by Proceed.
The most complete Bison coverage in the region. Your Bison Nation station. Bison 1660.
So most companies claim they have good people, good product, good customer service, but the question is how often. We go the extra mile to take care of our dealers and our growers, and more importantly, their families and their customers.
Proceed tries to bring a family-like experience. Farmers, we want to understand what their challenges are. We also want to bring products to them that help them overcome those challenges so that they can be as successful as possible.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. Top-ranked North Dakota State got off to a fast start and never looked back in a 27-14 homecoming win versus Youngstown State this past Saturday. Fullback Hunter Lipke continued his domination on the gridiron, accounting for 106 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Cam Miller was 13 for 18 and 145 yards through the air. Place kicker Griffin Crosa, coming off his second career Missouri Valley Special Teams Player of the Week award, remained perfect on the season, converting 2 field goals and all his point after kicks. Tight end Joe Stuffle led all receivers with 4 grabs for 52 yards. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. Next up for the Bison, they are back on the road to battle the Indiana State Sycamores on Saturday.
Bobcat empowers people to accomplish more every day. More in the field, more at the construction site, more behind the scenes. Bobcat is now hiring skilled positions in Gwinnett, including assemblers, welders, and material handlers. Qualified employees are eligible for a $2,000 sign-on bonus and a $5,000 relocation package after 60 days. Bobcat also offers full benefits, 401k, and more. Doosan Bobcat. Even our careers are built better. Apply at bobcat.com/nowhiring. Bobcat is an equal opportunity employer.
New 2022 Honda Pilots are in stock now at Corwin Honda. This 8-passenger all-wheel drive SUV comes standard with an auto start, heated seats, and Honda Sensing. Current Honda owners can receive $750 lease loyalty cash toward the lease of a new 2022 Pilot, or $1,000 loyalty cash when you purchase a new Pilot. See dealer for details. Corwin Honda has over 40 new Pilots available to choose from, all colors and trim levels. Shop Corwin Honda today. Online, corwinauto.com.
Tired of your real estate goals getting blocked? Let Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty serve up your next big move in real estate. Todd's expertise in the Fargo-Moorhead area means he's the one to line up the perfect shot. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today at 701-371-4234 or visit him at Beyond Realty, 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Back to mostly sunny skies today in the FM area, and a high that's going to get back into the low to mid 70s. 10 to 15 mile per hour wind out of the northeast. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies and a little bit breezier, 20 to 25 mile per hour winds and a low in the upper 30s. This weather update brought to you by Heartland Trust Company, an independent and local trust company where their priority is your financial future. Visit them online at heartlandtrust.com.
The place you go for all your Bison news first. You've got the insiders right here on Bison 1660.
Rolling right along, hour number 2 for you. Hump Day edition.
Hump Day.
Do that one more time.
Hump Day.
There we go. Marker.
We'll save it.
Save it. Appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Andy, Rob, Micah with you. A Wednesday, hour number 2. Having some fun. Jory Collins already earlier. If you missed that one, you can podcast it later. All of our podcasts are on our website, bison1660.com. Click on shows. All the latest stuff there. Through Spreaker we're using. That's been a great addition to Bison 1660. You can find all the podcasts of our shows, games, highlights, coaches' shows, press conferences, weekend shows like the Bison Report Show with Ross Uglum, who we appreciate, and Brad Jones, Bison Tailgate Show. You can find all that stuff right there on our website under shows. And you can also find it in anywhere you find podcasts. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you want to go for podcasts. We've got it for you there here with Bison 1660 and all the audio. Or you can just listen to it live as well. Jory Collins was with us at noon, but if you missed it, we will have that up. Also on our social media outlets as well, on Twitter and Facebook, Bison 1660 on both of those. The show today brought to you in part by The Spirit Shop. You need to stock up on all your favorites for watching football. The Spirit Shop has you covered with a huge selection of beer, wine, or spirits at the best prices and great weekly specials. The Spirit Shop off 13th behind Shields Home and Hardware. Okay, how about a little football bed music? Let's get to this. We talked about it yesterday. Wanted to give it its own segment, give it some time to breathe. Also give Micah some time to actually come up with something for it, too.
Something smart.
Something smart sounding. Difficult for me sometimes as well. Overwhelming and underwhelming teams through the first month of the season. 4 weeks have been played. Used to be exactly a month. Now you have 17 games instead of 16, so not exactly a month. But basically a month of the season. What teams, based off their expectations, some teams are bad and we expected them to be bad, not really underwhelming, but teams that we thought would be good that are underwhelming, and teams were like, no, that kind of surprises us. A little overwhelming of what we expected them to be. I'll go first on, let's do, each of us get 2 over and 2 underwhelming teams that we think are overachieving and underachieving so far through a month. I'll give my first underwhelming team on the season. For me, underwhelming, I'm going to go with the Rams at 2-2. I think the Rams at 2-2, coming off that Super Bowl championship, I know it's usually a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. They returned a lot of players, and Sean McVay's this offensive guru, and you've got the best defensive player since whenever in Aaron Donald, and a magician at wide receiver in Cooper Kupp. Shout out FCS, Eastern Washington. I thought they'd be better than 2-2 at this point. I think it's a little underwhelming for what they have accomplished so far this season. Now, there are losses. You know, you lose to the 49ers, you lose to the Bills, not like embarrassing losses at all. Even some of their wins haven't quite been as convincing, and that offensive line looks really bad. They better protect Matthew Stafford, because Stafford ain't one of those mobile quarterbacks that's moving around extending plays. You got to protect that guy, and if they don't, it could not maybe be a great season for the Rams. The thing that's really underwhelming for them is Allen Robinson. That dude has stolen the first month of his paycheck with them, because he signed a big deal. It's a 3-year deal, too. He's not producing at all. Some of his routes look really slow, like he's almost like half you-know-what in it out there, or he just got a lot slower. Maybe he's dealing with an injury or something, but he has not looked like a good addition, and they need somebody else to step up so they don't have to throw it to Cooper Kupp 20 times a game and Tyler Higbee another 15 times a game. Maybe they go to OBJ. He's still out there, could come back. He's a free agent, but it's been a little underwhelming to me so far.
Yeah, I think that was one on my radar for me. And granted, before
you can copy each other.
No, but before I say this, granted, they've played some tough competition. They really have. But for me, my underwhelming 2-2 Tampa Bay. I think anytime that you've got a Tom Brady on a team, that team is always going to be expected to win no matter what. And Brady has played fairly well. I'm not discrediting Brady, but this is a team with a lot of offensive firepower. They've got good defense, but they just haven't found a way to win more games. And like I said, you go back and you look, and they've played the Kansas Cities. Granted, that's a tough team, obviously. They've played the Packers. They lost that game. I wouldn't have expected Tampa Bay to lose at home versus Green Bay. They won by 10 at New Orleans, which I knew that one was coming. And then, with the Cowboys, how they've been playing, I mean, they were victorious starting the road 19-3 there up in Arlington. So for me, that is my underwhelming team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'd like to see more. Levante David had a chance to grab an interception, dropped one earlier in this season. So the firepower is there, but the wins haven't equated to that through the first 4 games.
My underwhelming team, the Indianapolis Colts. They had the great addition of Matt Ryan. It was pumped up immediately in the offseason. It was an upgrade over Carson Wentz. I'm going to rattle that one home. And their defense is still stout, but they can't produce offensively. And now with Jonathan Taylor out, they might be struggling for a little bit, depending on how long he is out. So the Colts, it's an easy one for me. They were supposed to win the AFC South, but now it's looking like Jacksonville. That's their division now.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was saving them for my second underwhelming one. This has nothing to do with my expectations. My expectations were they'll be like a 8-9 win team, something around there. Maybe they squeak in, maybe they don't. National landscape, how many times do we hear it over the summer? Nationally, oh my gosh, they housed everybody. They traded Carson for all these picks, and they got Matt Ryan for nothing. This is a great deal for them, and now they got an upgrade at quarterback. It's a massive upgrade. We heard massive upgrade so many times from the people out there nationally. And again, obviously we're Carson Wentz a little bit homers. I still think Carson's got a little something left in the tank. It has not been a good year for them either. But we were told that the Colts had like the second coming of Joe Montana. Like Matt Ryan was going to come and save this franchise, and he was the missing link. It had nothing to do with the fact that they had no receivers that could get any separation last year. That the receivers were absolutely terrible, and Michael Pittman was their best one, and he doesn't even get that much separation. It was just because the quarterback couldn't deliver the ball. Well, they got the quarterback. That's a massive upgrade in Matt Ryan. Defense is legitimate. They've got, Jonathan Taylor. It's going to be an easy start to their season, too. They're going to just cruise control early on. A tie against the Texans. A loss where you got shut out against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's improved, but you got shut out by Jacksonville with a much improved quarterback. Yeah, nice win against the Chiefs. That one's probably the most surprising. Maybe that's the overwhelming score so far through the first 4 months or 4 weeks. But then a loss at home to the Titans, 24-17, the team that you couldn't beat last year. You had all these upgrades. I heard all the time that was a massive upgrade. Well, doesn't look that way. You're 1-2-1 with a tie against the Texans and a loss to the Jaguars.
Underwhelming for me, I got to go Raiders, man. I really do. I think that there's been so much expectation for this team. It almost feels like every year they're on the cusp of something great about to happen, and then they start out the season right now 1-3. I would have expected a much better start for them. They lose in overtime at home versus the Cardinals. I think that was a game that
had a multiple score lead too.
Yeah, it had a big, had the 2-touchdown lead and then just basically gave up that game. I didn't expect them to beat the Chargers on the road. They didn't. I would have expected them to beat the Titans. They didn't win that game, lost 24-22. And then finally, as we go back last year, at home, getting that first victory versus the Broncos. So it's kind of been an a team that has some instability. I'm just still waiting on Derek Carr to break out. When is he finally going to have that opportunity, and when is he going to get guys surrounding him that are going to help him succeed?
When you get Chandler Jones and you get Devontae Adams, expectations should have been high for them. I agree with you. They're pretty underwhelming.
My second underwhelming, the Denver Broncos.
Thank you.
Mr. Russell Wilson, let's ride. Oh, man, their offense looks putrid, and with a $40 million quarterback?
Something like that.
It's around there, but they can't produce offensively, and wow, they they just don't look the part of a team that can compete in the AFC West in a super tough division.
Not in that division. Definitely not.
They're going to be playing for third against the Raiders in that division. And their defense is really good, but they just can't produce enough offensively. Right now, maybe Russell Wilson's going to flip the script, how he always started out hot in the first half of the season. But now second half, it's going to be his. That's going to be his let's ride moment.
So Russell Wilson is actually having a worse year statistically than Geno Smith, and it's been a bad start, right? Now they got a couple wins. They're 2-2. It's not like the end of the world's crashing down or anything, but they haven't looked impressive in either of those 2 wins either. What comes out today? Russell Wilson, he's got a shoulder injury, guys. The shoulder injury. His right shoulder, his throwing shoulder, it's all messed up. Like, that's why he hasn't been good. I love when stuff comes out after you've been bad for a while. It's like the pitcher that has 4 or 5 really bad starts, like really bad, and they pull him in the 4th inning of a game, and then the next day you hear, you know what, guys, it was elbow tightness. It was a tightness in his elbow or something. Like, come on, that's just an excuse to put him on the IL and then bring him back and let him refocus and take a breath.
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited looking a little bit limited these days and needs to improve because that has not been a good start. And it won't take very long for people to start saying he's over the hill. He doesn't have it anymore. I thought the last couple of years in Seattle, he looked like he was kind of declining, and definitely been a decline so far in Denver in year number 1. Okay, overwhelming. The good stuff from the first month of the NFL season. Teams you think have overachieved on where we thought they would be at this point. It's the easy one, but it's the obvious one, so I'll go with it. I thought the Eagles would be good. I didn't think they'd be 4-0 and be this impressive in a lot of their victories. Their second half offense has been a little bit hit and miss, a little up and down. Got off to a bad start last week against Jacksonville, gave up 14 early points, but came back and won that game. Obviously, they dominated the Vikings, completely dominated that one from start to finish. Jalen Hurts, I thought he couldn't throw the ball. He's thrown the ball down the field extremely well. He's proven me wrong on that one. I'll gladly say I was wrong. Jalen Hurts looks like a really good quarterback. Now, let's see how he does once he gets the big contract, and then you're paying him instead of other players and stuff, but that's a couple years down the road. So for this year, I thought they'd be good. I didn't think they were going to run away with the division at all. So far, it looks like they're going to. That's a little overwhelming for them.
Throw an injury into the mix when you got your franchise quarterback at one point, the highest paid quarterback in the league. That's not true much anymore. Not because I'm still that little inkling of a fan, but the Cowboys at 3-1, continuing to find ways to win. Cooper Rush, 4-0 as a starter in his career now, and just I didn't expect the Cowboys to be where they're at right now. I didn't expect their defense to be this good and where it stands right now. So I'll keep mine right there in the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys at 3-1. Just trying to see how they're going to continue to play throughout this season. And with Dak continuing to be injured, man, if they keep winning, maybe I'll have to change my stance on it.
Maybe.
My overwhelming team is the Seattle Seahawks. Everybody's like, this team's going to tank. They need a quarterback. Well, Geno Smith looks pretty good. A guy that can help you win games, but he's not losing them games right now. They have good weapons on the outside still, and now they have a better offensive line to protect Geno Smith. You put solid guys around Geno, and look what he does. And their defense has been playing way better than expected.
Let Geno cook. Let's go. Final overwhelming team. Let's go through these ones a little bit quicker. Jaguars, 2-2 at this point, top of their division. Thought they'd be improved. I thought they got a competent coach, like a coach that can actually just be a coach and lead the franchise a little bit, and Doug Peterson. They've been pretty good, though. They put up some numbers. Again, that shutout against the Colts, hung with the Eagles for a bit. Even in their losses, they've looked better. That's a team that can make the playoffs, and I didn't think that was at all the case coming in. They have tons of talent, clearly, because they have so many number 1 overall picks, but I didn't think the Jaguars would be 2-2 at this point.
Demolished the Chargers, by the way.
Yeah, they did.
I didn't think the Giants, keeping it in the NFC East, and we've been talking about them all season, I didn't think the Giants would be where they're at right now. It's just been a team to me that I think is, I don't know if their record really reflects where they're at.
Yeah, 3-1, Brian Daboll's first season. They've been impressive.
I don't think I have another one.
You know, I really don't. Overwhelming? No one's surprised you at all?
Not particularly.
I was kind of thinking about the Browns at 2-2, with Jacoby Brissett as well, being on top of their division, but that's more because of the Ravens just have dropped a couple of games. Dolphins at 3-1's a little overwhelming. I didn't expect them to be 3-1 this year, this early on. A great win against, especially when you have the Bills and the Ravens on the schedule, and they won both of those games. Probably didn't expect the Dolphins to be 3-1, but there you go. Over and underwhelming teams through the first month of the season. You know how I didn't say the Vikings? Because they're right where I thought they'd be. The loss came against the Eagles instead of the Lions. I said Lions would be the trip-up game. It came just a week earlier. So Vikings right where we wanted to be. Skol, sound the Galler horn. Let's go.
They are who we thought they were.
And they haven't gotten off the hook yet. But they better win this week against the Bears at home. You cannot lose it. The Bears have looked real bad. Justin Fields looks terrible. He's got like a 290 yards passing in 4 games. Total. That is not good. Not good at all. So they've got some work to do. The Vikings better take care of business at home against the Chicago Bears, this weekend. Take our final break. We'll come back, wrap up the show for you next here on a Wednesday.
Champions, play here. Your home for the Thundering Herd. Bison 1660.
Fall is about tradition. Tradition on the field with Bison football and tradition in the cooler with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. When you're enjoying a clean sack or a perfectly timed touchdown pass, let the crisp, cold, clean taste of Bud Light tackle your taste buds. The only bigger crowd pleaser on Saturday is another Bison win. Whether it's in the tailgate zone, a couch gate at home, or inside the Fargo Dome, the Bison go best with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
Homewood Suites wants you to feel at home. This upscale extended stay brand understands that being away from home can be challenging. So Homewood Suites in North Fargo has designed their amenities to make life easier for you. At Homewood, you can relax in a variety of suites with full kitchens, complimentary hot breakfast, outdoor grills, and recreational areas that make stays more familiar. When you need to be away, but you still want to feel like home, choose Homewood Suites by Hilton. Find out more and book a stay at homewoodssuites.com.
I'm Emily. I had my LASIK surgery here at Vance Thompson Vision. Being in the healthcare field, the highest technology is huge for patients. For me, that was the leading choice and why I chose to go with Vance Thompson Vision. Life without glasses in the operating room has been incredible for me. There's no more fogging. There's no more having issues with my glasses sliding down on my face. It's been great for me.
Call 877-522-EYES to schedule a free consultation.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. Top-ranked North Dakota State got off to a fast start and never looked back in a 27-14 homecoming win versus Youngstown State this past Saturday. Fullback Hunter Lipke continued his domination on the gridiron, accounting for 106 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Cam Miller was 13 for 18 and 145 yards through the air. Place kicker Griffin Crosa, coming off his second career Missouri Valley Special Teams Player of the Week award, remained perfect on the season, converting 2 field goals and all his point after kicks. Tight end Joe Stuffle led all receivers with 4 grabs for 52 yards. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. Next up for the Bison, they are back on the road to battle the Indiana State Sycamores on Saturday.
Hi, it's Kelly, and I want to tell you about my great experience with Valley Service Mechanical. They were polite and very easy to deal with. They were knowledgeable and helped me understand every step of the process, from the initial discussion of purchase options to the installation. It was a top-notch experience. If you ever want to work with professionals, I would strongly recommend Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. Online at valleyservice.net.
Since Nodak Insurance Company started, we've gone from paying by mail to paying online. Your proof of insurance in the glove box has changed to a quick tap to our online app. And as new technologies make farming more efficient, our coverage ensures you're always protected. The way we live and work has changed, but our values, service, and commitment have remained the same. Nodak is constantly evolving to meet your insurance needs and deliver answers where and when you need them most. Nodak Insurance Company. Agents with answers.
Protect your vision with the latest contact lens technology from Eyes on Broadway and Rexine Family Eye Care. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Rexine, your downtown eye doc. Contact lens-related eye infections can lead to permanent vision loss, but are preventable with proper hygiene and replacement schedule.
Set up an appointment with Dr. Michael Rexine or myself, Dr. Vanessa Manlove, at michaelrexine.com, with locations in both Fargo and Mayville.
I promise you will see the difference.
When you're making decisions about your ag operation finances, you need access to the experts. This is Scott Solandic with Cornerstone Bank. Whether you're just starting your operation or looking to grow, we're here to talk you through those financial decisions. We're the kind of people who get to know you and genuinely appreciate your needs. If you're looking for a bank that's been specializing in ag banking for generations, come see us at Cornerstone Bank.
Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
We all want to be part of a winning team, right? Hi, this is Marcus with Steamatic, and I am very proud of our team. Industry experts have voted Steamatic the best method of cleaning with our patented steam cleaning process, our 24-hour service, and highly trained technicians. We do it all from carpet cleaning, air duct cleaning, fire and water damage restoration, and remember, Bison fanatics choose Steamatic.
Steamatic, call 232-4707.
Every fan loves an explosive play on the field when someone breaks free and takes it to the house. Take that feeling anywhere with the explosive taste of Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Bud Light Seltzer is always the right call for game day. The bold flavor of the hard soda variety pack and the all-new seasonal apple slices flavors will definitely score points with your team in the tailgate zone or inside the Fargo Dome. Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
Gearing up for another season of Bison football? We've got you covered each and every day on the Insiders on Bison 1660.
I feel glorious, got a chance to start.
Glorious? You feel glorious?
It's a glorious Wednesday, everyone.
It really is. Prepare yourselves. If you haven't already heard the weathers, I checked the weather for tomorrow. Not trying to put the fear of anything in anybody, but tomorrow I see a high in the upper 40s. Just saying. So prepare yourselves. We know it's coming. We're all good. We know what we're doing up here. But high in the upper 40s. We'll be back in the 60s and 70s the rest of the week. But not the rest of the week. I think Friday is going to be cooler too. But over the weekend, it should get back to into the at least into the 60s. Maybe a few more days in the 70s. But those ones are probably few and far between now and the end of the year.
A little 28 tomorrow for the low. We didn't see 28 in Texas till about February.
Yeah, and it's maybe for a day or two, right?
Yeah,
and then
it wasn't
get back
that long.
Well above it. And that was only at night. Here with you inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol is a proud partner with Summit Carbon Solutions, helping reduce the carbon footprint by capturing, transporting, and permanently storing CO2 emissions, cutting the carbon intensity in half. You can find out more about their partnership with Summit Carbon Solutions online at theraldsonethanol.com. And NDSU taking on Indiana State. Next step on the road to the ring for NDSU, trying to capture that 10th national title at the FCS level. Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry is the sponsor of our road to the ring, and they have a long history and reputation for quality, workmanship, and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. Tomorrow, we're at Sicky's. Throwback Thursday. Rob's got that thing ready for Throwback Thursday tomorrow. We'll have the Bison 1660 Pick'ems. I got the new Top 15. And I believe Kyle Emanuel will also be joining us at Sicky's tomorrow, 45th Street. So get there, have some fun, enjoy some great food.
Throwback Thursday teaser. We'll go back to 2013.
2013, 9 years ago against, I guess, Indiana State. Some sort of big
figure that out.
Some sort of big play in NDSU history. Throwback Thursday tomorrow. Also, make sure you text the keyword BET to 701-476-1660 for your chance to win that stay and play package from Dakota Nation Sportsbook. If you text BET to 701-476-1660, you're registered. We'll give that away next Thursday at Sicky's on the Insiders. Tomorrow we give away the Jim Beam insulated cooler at Sicky's. So stop on out. We'll have some fun. And looking forward to that one tomorrow from 11 to 1 over at Sicky's. Thanks for listening today. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
Businesses should know that Consolidated Communications has the only data center in the FM area that is SOC 2 certified. That means Consolidated has tested reliable systems in place to protect your valuable data.